Laura, very serious question to start. Have you ever opened your fridge without being hungry, just to look?
Yes. And sometimes I close it, then open it again, as if something new might magically appear, like the fridge has a secret update feature.
Now imagine voluntarily deciding not to eat, even though you could, even though your fridge is full, and no one is stopping you.
Yes, not because there is no food, but because you consciously choose to go without it, and to say no to your own body.
That's exactly what millions of Christians do during certain periods of the year. And for many people today, it almost seems incomprehensible. Because Christian fasting is not just not eating. It's an ancient spiritual practice, but one that still touches countless people today, even in very modern societies.
And maybe you've heard about it without really understanding what the Bible actually says about it, or why so many believers still practice it.
Or maybe you're a believer, wondering how to go through this period without pressure, without guilt, and without turning into a starving zombie staring at people eating like they're characters in a movie.
Yes, because between spirituality and stomach pain, there's sometimes a very thin line. So today we're going to explore why Christians fast, what it really means, and how this practice can transform far more than we imagine, even in everyday life.
Always calmly, simply without complicated jargon, and with a little humor. Because yes, even spiritual topics can be deeply human.
And if you're learning English, stay with us, because you can listen to this conversation as gentle immersion, no pressure, just to get your ear and heart used to the language.
So get comfortable, breathe, and if you have a snack nearby, don't feel guilty, for now.
Welcome to English Simplified All News, the podcast. My name is Laura.
And I'm Alex. Before talking about fasting itself, we need to recognize something very simple. We live in a world where everything is instant.
Yes, instant food, instant messages, instant entertainment, instant answers, and sometimes even instant relationships. So voluntarily giving something up almost feels illogical, like going against the direction of the modern world.
And yet, many Christians say these fasting periods are among the most powerful moments of their spiritual lives, which is fascinating, because from the outside, it just looks like someone not eating.
Yes, but from the inside, it's often much deeper, almost like an emotional and spiritual cleansing. And if you're listening right now, maybe you already relate, maybe you know what it feels like to want something, but choose not to take it, not because you can't, but because you want to stay faithful to something greater.
Or maybe you've never fasted, and you're simply wondering, how is that even possible? Why would anyone do that? And most importantly, does it really make sense today?
And those are very good questions, because Christian fasting is not meant to be a performance, or a competition, or proof of spirituality.
Yes, it's not a suffering contest, nor a test to see who is strongest, even though sometimes people treat it that way, and mostly end up very irritable.
Yes, that moment when someone says, "I'm fasting to be closer to God," but becomes much less close to the people around them.
Exactly, which is ironic, because the Bible emphasizes love, patience, gentleness, not spiritual irritability.
And that's why we wanted to address this topic today, to remove pressure, to make this theme human, accessible, and understandable, even if you're not religious, even if you're simply curious.
So if you can subscribe and like the video, that would be wonderful, because it helps other people discover this topic and learn like you and me. You know, Laura, in reality, everything often starts with a very normal day. A day that probably looks a lot like yours. You wake up, maybe tired, maybe late, maybe already worried about what's waiting for you.
And at the end of the day, you get home, exhausted, drained, with that strange feeling of being busy all day, but not really knowing why you're so tired. And that's often when we realize how dependent we are on comfort, on noise, on distraction, on food, or simply on something that helps us stop thinking.
And that's exactly where fasting comes in. not as punishment, but as interruption, a voluntary pause in this automatic cycle.
Because sometimes, the biggest problem isn't that life is hard, but that it's too full, too noisy, too fast, with no space to breathe internally.
Yes, even when we stop physically, our mind keeps running, planning, anticipating, remembering, worrying.
Fasting creates a special kind of silence, not just the absence of food, but the absence of automatic habits.
And in that silence, many people say they begin to hear things they had been avoiding. Their thoughts, their fears, their desires, and sometimes an unexpected peace.
Which can be both beautiful and uncomfortable, because facing yourself isn't always easy.
Especially in a world designed to distract us, to keep us busy, to prevent us from being alone with our thoughts.
And let's be honest, the first thing many people notice when fasting isn't spiritual enlightenment, it's hunger.
Yes, that hunger that starts gently, then becomes very persuasive, then suddenly becomes the main subject of all your thoughts.
You start noticing the smell of food everywhere. Even things you normally don't like suddenly become incredibly interesting.
Yes, someone eats something simple, and you look at them as if it were a royal banquet.
Or you watch cooking videos for absolutely no reason, just to suffer more.
Exactly. Your brain suddenly becomes a culinary expert, even though the day before you ate pasta without enthusiasm.
At its core, what makes fasting so special isn't what we give up, but why we give it up.
Yes, it's not performance, not a display of strength, but an act of love, a voluntary choice to say, God, you are more important than my immediate comfort. So repeat after me, God, you are more important than my immediate comfort. Beautiful.
And love in the Bible is never presented as purely emotional. It's commitment, faithfulness, even when it's difficult.
Like in a relationship, you don't show love only when things are easy, but also when you make effort, when you give things up, when you choose the other person.
And many believers experience fasting as a way to recenter their lives, realign priorities, remember what truly matters. And if you're learning English, this conversation is also an invitation to listen without pressure, without needing to understand every word, simply to become familiar with rhythm, emotions, language.
Because learning a language is a bit like fasting too. You give up the comfort of your native language to enter an uncomfortable but transforming space.
At first, you feel lost, slow, frustrated. Then gradually something changes. Your ear adapts, your brain opens, and what was difficult becomes natural.
So if you're still listening now, even without understanding everything, you're already progressing calmly, at your own pace. When we look at the Bible, what's surprising is that fasting is rarely presented as simply about food, or as a technique to become spiritual faster.
Yes, it's often connected to important moments, difficult decisions, crises, or times when people deeply seek God's direction. Think of Esther, Jesus, symbolic figures.
Entire communities fasted when facing danger, or when they realized they had lost their way.
And fasting wasn't seen as heroic, but as humility, a way of saying, we don't control everything, we need help.
In a world that values autonomy and performance, that's a radical posture. Yes, admitting we can't solve everything alone takes courage, maybe even more than pretending everything is fine. And of course, the most famous example, Jesus fasting 40 days in the desert.
40 days, far beyond. I skipped breakfast.
Yes. After a few hours, I already start planning my next meal like it's a national event.
But what matters is that it happened before his public ministry, as inner preparation before a huge mission.
During that time, he faced temptations, physical, spiritual, emotional, about power, identity, purpose.
Fasting reveals what's already inside us, fears, desires, weaknesses, but also resilience. Because fasting isn't just a battle against hunger, it's an inner confrontation.
When distractions disappear, you face your thoughts, emotions, and sometimes things you avoided.
Some describe it as uncomfortable, others liberating, often both.
Today, many Christians adapt fasting to modern life.
Some fast from food, others from social media, TV, sugar, coffee, games, distractions. And by the way, tell us in the comments what you are fasting from.
Sometimes the main issue isn't food, but constant attention capture.
Honestly, giving up your phone for a day can be harder than skipping a meal.
Yes, that moment you look for your phone, while it's already in your hand.
Or unlock your screen without knowing why. Fasting creates space, and that space can be filled with prayer, reflection, or silence.
Silence can feel strange at first, almost unsettling.
But gradually, it becomes calming, like your mind finally has permission to slow down. Many hesitate to fast because they fear failure, weakness, irritability.
But the Bible emphasizes intention over perfection, heart over performance.
Many believers report a unique peace during fasting, even when circumstances don't change.
Because fasting changes perspective, not just behavior.
Maybe you're listening because you're going through a hard time or searching for meaning or peace.
Or just curious. Curiosity is often the beginning of a journey.
Whatever your situation, you don't need to be perfect or understand everything to start reflecting. Stay strong. It will be okay. God watches over you.
What is also interesting is that fasting is not only an individual practice, it can transform the way we interact with others.
Yes, because when we become more aware, more patient, more attentive, it shows in our relationships, in the way we speak, listen, react.
And sometimes, some people even notice that their loved ones become more important, that superficial conversations give way to more sincere exchanges.
It is as if fasting removes certain layers, certain distractions, and allows access to something more authentic. For some people, fasting can also bring out a feeling of loneliness, especially if they live alone.
Yes, because the usual distractions decrease, and the silence becomes more present. But many testify that this solitude can gradually turn into a feeling of presence, as if they were no longer really alone.
Something that is difficult to explain, but deeply reassuring for those who experience it. There are also moments when you feel weak, discouraged, when you wonder why you started.
Yes, those moments when everything feels harder, when energy drops, when motivation disappears, and the temptation to give up becomes very strong.
But these are often the moments, some say, that produce the deepest changes, because they force you to choose, continue, or give up, believe, or give in hope, or surrender. And despite the difficulties, Christian fasting is fundamentally a practice of hope.
Yes, the idea that beyond hunger, lack, silence, there is something good, something transforming, something worth the effort.
A hope that does not depend on circumstances, but on a deeper trust.
What is beautiful is that even after the fasting period, many people say they are not exactly the same anymore.
Not necessarily dramatically different, but calmer, more aware, more grateful, less dependent on excess.
As if they had rediscovered that they could live with less and appreciate more.
And if you are learning English or any discipline, perhaps you can also see your learning as a form of discipline, a path, sometimes difficult, but full of transformation.
Yes, there will be days when you feel confident, and others when you feel like you understand nothing, and that is normal.
But every minute of listening, every recognized word, every understood sentence builds something inside you.
So if you are still here, listening, you are already progressing, even if you do not fully realize it.
A question for you, dear listener. Have you ever experienced a period of fasting, or are you considering going through one?
What seems the most difficult to you? The hunger, the discipline, the silence, or simply the change of habits?
You can write a word, a simple sentence, or even just your feeling. Participating is already a form of expression.
Fasting is not an obligation to be loved, nor a condition to be accepted. It is an invitation, a possibility, a proposed path, not an imposed one. And each person moves forward at their own pace, according to their situation, their health, their faith, their journey.
In a world where almost everything pushes us outward, toward noise, toward consumption, toward immediacy.
Fasting is a way to return inward, to the essential, to what cannot be bought, downloaded, or accelerated.
A way of saying, my life is not defined by what I consume, but by what I become. Thank you for spending this moment with us. Truly, we know your time is precious, and we are deeply grateful that you shared it with us.
Take care of yourself, your body, your mind, and move forward at your own pace, without pressure. We will see you very soon for a new episode.